Barry, let's get to ringside. Chris Eubank is there tonight, and Adam Smith is speaking to him.
Lennox must use the jab.
Oh yeah, he must keep.
Didn't you give him some advice for that?
No, we can't even talk about that because then that's going to make me look one way or another.
He's British.
It's not the point. I mean, listen, you know, because that man over there is from whatever nationality I'm supposed to take his side because he's British and I'm British. No, that would be, one has to use their intellects to rise above that.
So who wins?
That's called discrimination. No, I don't know. And if I knew that, then the banks would say, listen, Mr. Eubank, can we have your opinion so that we can make more money? No, you have to know what's in the person's mind. You have to know how his mind is fused. If his mind is fused and he's willing to go continuously non-stop without regard for his life or his health, that's the person who wins. And that must be done with a particular strategy.
So either could win.
Well, you know, this is not a, you know, we know Holyfield is a legendary fighter. Lennox is a very big man. He's a very good fighter. You know, they both can win. It's just about what they've done. It's a game of chess, okay? And whoever plays best is the one who's going to win.
And you don't know?
No, I don't. I mean, even if I think I know, I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't tell you, because that wouldn't be fair.
I think I followed that. It's such a pride.
Countrymen.
But another of Lewis's fellow countrymen was furious.
We all saw it here. They may say, well, if I look at it from that angle, I see one thing, you may see another. There was one decision here. He won at least 10 of 12 rounds, and that's been kind to Holyfield.
Lennox Lewis left match.
Okay, my next guest is our new official Big Breakfast boxing correspondent. He's the Imperial Majesty of super middleweights, our very own Lord of the Ring. He's come straight here after flying overnight from the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, a man we know as simply the best, Mr. Chris Eubank. So, welcome to the show, Chris. Now, the Lennox Lewis-Evander Holyfield title fight on Saturday night was billed as the biggest fight to be staged at Madison Square Gardens, the Mecca of boxing, since Muhammad Ali fought Joe Frazier 28 years ago. Now, the mood in both America and Britain before the fight was said to reach epidemic proportions. I know there was 8,000 British fight fans went out there. It was reported as the final great battle of the 20th century.
It sounded like there was more British fans there. I mean, it was...
Because they know how to make some noise.
They really did. It was really... the atmosphere in there, 21,000 people, was fantastic.
Have you ever known anything like an atmosphere like that?
I
Apart your own fight.
Yeah, well, I took part in...
I knew that.
Well, now, what it is, there was 43,000 people at Old Trafford, but I was performing, and so you don't really realise it, really.
Because you're in the zone, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of focused.
But as well as that, I know who did they announce? They announced Jack Nicholson.
#1 cheer.
Then they announced...
Keith Richards.
And then who did they announce third?
Chris Eubank, and people went absolutely mad. I couldn't believe it. And I tell you what, I was
now wishing to blow his own trumpet.
No. But I was thinking, I hope they don't mention my name because I'm not really known in New York, so I thought. And I thought I didn't want to really, because it kind of hurts the morale, you know.
Yeah, it does.
And I thought, I hope they don't mention me. And when they did, I mean, it was just a rapture. And I was just like, you know, Keith Richards, Jack Nicholson, just like...
Happens to hear somebody when Kelly goes, I'm Kelly Brook, and everyone goes, hey, and I go, I'm Johnny Boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so how important was this fight for Lennox Lewis?
Well, it was the most important fight of his life, and he is, in my opinion, and to all the people who witnessed the fight, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, which we haven't had in Britain, I understand, for 102 years we haven't had an undisputed world champion. Just explain what undisputed means. Which belts do you hold for that?
All of them.
Apart from WBO?
All of them. I mean, you are undisputed. It's basically unifying all of them. I mean, all the little ones, which come on behind the main four, are really considered, if you got the big four, then you...
WBC, WBA, IBF, and the big three.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And he was fantastic. He showbooted, he was, you know, he was hands down, boom, you know, and when he actually got him in the corner, he was just pummeling him. I mean, he bludgeoned him, he embarrassed him, he demoralized him, he actually performed the best I've ever seen him perform.
Because I thought he wouldn't have the heart to overcome Evander, but my goodness, he showed that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, before the fight, he carried himself in such a dignified manner. I'll tell you what he did. I think he beat Holyfield before the fight started.
It's when all fights are won, though, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. In that, he said to him, you're a hypocrite. Now, in regards to the fact that he's fathered 9 children from 6 different women, and he calls the God, I'm God's champion, and Don King, you know, really pushes that.
We'll get on to Don King a little bit later. You know what, we're going to go to Phil Gale to have a look at some fight action. For legal reasons, I'm sorry, we have to do it this way. Phil.
Eubank, he was there, he's now here with Johnny.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Phil Gale. We have to do it this way. Okay, now during the fight, Lennox, it's over all the papers today, he landed 218 more punches. Actually, I thought the stats were quite frightening in terms of how much, you know, 350 punches landed, whatever. A lot of pounding for one man to take.
In terms of, the term what would be used in this country is Holyfield got spanked.
He got spanked.
He got absolutely spanked.
Okay, I think, yeah, use that term anyway. Okay, now Holyfield predicted that the fight would be over in 3 rounds.
And you know, that was a very silly thing to do because he's never made that type of prediction before, and that made me think that Lewis had got him by calling him a hypocrite. In fighting, seek not to defeat the man you are fighting, but seek to defeat his confidence, as a man who is troubled by doubts cannot focus on a correct course to victory.
How about that? Eubank, he said.
And I think he, you know, with that statement, he got to him, and the fight was won beforehand. And you know, it was chalk and cheese. He really did well. And
best you've ever seen, though.
Yeah,
I mean, you were impressed by him.
Yeah, I was impressed. I really was impressed.
Did you think at any time, wow, where did this fighter come from? You know, was it so unlike he normally is?
No, I mean, every time he's been under pressure in the past, with Razor Ruddock, with Golota, he knocks him out in the first, second round. I mean, so he does perform well, but this particular time with a fighter of Holyfield's caliber, to do what he did is just exceptional. It really is.
Okay, now apparently in the last round, Holyfield could hardly stand. How did Lennox look at the end of the fight?
Fantastic. Showbooting, and I mean, when the bell rang, hands straight up, and it was like a bit of the old British. Yeah.
Yes. and of course, Holyfield, head down.
Well, no, I mean,
he looked like he looked like he knew he'd lost this one.
No, he had lost. There was no. I mean, it would be.
But was he acting like a fighter who knew he'd lost at the end of it?
Right,
who just accepted that's it.
Right the way through the fight. I mean, while he was sitting in his corner between rounds, he was demoralised. He was outclassed. He was just a second-rate fighter to Lewis. And after the fight, obviously, what fighters do, they pick their hands up and they walk around as though they've won anyway.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you this as well. He's going around as God's champion, yeah?
Yeah.
And Don King bills him as God's champion.
Don't talk about Don King around me. There'll be bodies everywhere.
Listen. I share your view. I share your sentiments. And I think, from Holyfield's point of view, you know, 95% of the population of the world support God, and so he should not be walking around as though he deserved a draw. Yeah. He should, for God's sake, he should say, well, okay, yeah, I think, he should be gracious and say, I think he really got the better of me.
Yeah.
But he's walking around saying, well, no, the judges have a job to do, and that's wrong.
But isn't this, in terms of financially for Don King, this was the best result possible? Great rematch.
Don't mention the name Don King.
Sorry. Do you want to know? Okay, here we go. What was the crowd's reaction then when the result was announced? What happened in there?
Disbelief. I mean, you know,
even the pro Eubank. I mean, even the pro Evander fans must have.
Disbelief. It was disbelief in the arena. I mean, Jim Rosenthal, who I had the pleasure of commentating with for Talk Radio, and Moz D of Talk Radio, everyone was just you know, the win just.
Is that what Jim Rosenthal did?
He was sick. He was sick. Everybody was just. It was just unbelievable. You know, chalk and cheese. I mean, it was Lennox Lewis done a fantastic job for the United Kingdom. He done a fantastic job for himself. He carried himself with dignity and grace before the fight. During the fight, he was poised. He was stylish. He was showman-like. And after the fight, still that same dignified. Deportment. Fantastic.
How much of an important thing is it, you know, just to know you've won? That's not going to make him feel any better, I wouldn't think, would it?
No, he knows he's won.
But without the belt, just the frustration of that.
Yeah, I understand that. But unofficially, he is the undisputed world heavyweight champion. Okay. Officially, he's not, but then that's rubbish. I ain't going to go along with the politics.
Okay, we spoke to Frank Maloney. Last night, we spoke to Lennox Lewis manager, Frank Maloney. He issued a statement to the Big Breakfast. You ready for this, gang? Big Breakfast viewers, it was like being mugged in the streets of New York. The difference was the muggers got paid to mug us. This has done more damage to boxing than anything for the 21st century. Chris, do you agree with those statements?
Absolutely. Let me tell you, controversy is good for boxing. When Mike Tyson bit the ear of Evander Holyfield, fantastic. People switch on. It intrigues people. When decisions like this are made, people just say,
yeah, that's what I thought about boxing,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Listen, Chris, thank you so much. Chris
you.
Eubank, ladies and gentlemen. This is Channel 4, you're watching The Big Breakfast.